Okay, Hauns Mill or whatever. This is, we're in Chillicothe, Missouri at the gravesite of William O. Jennings. He was born in 1814, died in 1862 on January 22nd. At the bottom of his marker it says, "Shot in the dark, where are those bloody thieves?" He was shot at the corner of Walnut and Cooper Street here in Chillicothe, about a mile behind us, and by some unknown assassins. There had been some speculation as to whether Orrin Porter Rockwell was ever back in Missouri in 1862. As you notice here, William O. Jennings was a Mason. He went back and nursed the widows and orphans at Hauns Mill, according to the Missouri records, and ate their goods and took their goods, which made the saints feel as if he was stealing. Missouri perspective is that they were reparations. Jennings is the one that secured the cannon from DeWitt, and on the way from DeWitt to Chillicothe they took 2 prisoners, Lyman and Dunn. Amasa Lyman was one that made the ride on the cannon. They claimed they were prisoners for 4 days. Jennings' company buried the cannon about 12 miles behind us here at the Methodist campground in Livingston County, where Joseph Smith came and with 100 men, David Patton and Hiram and all that, and took the cannon from this county. 9 days later, William Jennings led the raid at Hauns Mill, where 17 were killed. Very, very sad episode. Joseph Smith was also a Mason, a York Rite 3rd degree Master Mason. Not for long, he did not practice Masonry long. Many of the early brethren of the church were Masons. Joseph Smith was asked by the Grand Lodge of Illinois why he was initiating women into the principle, into ritual. He did not respond, and as you might have read from excerpts of the Carthage jail issue, or situation, on June 27, 1844, Joseph Smith gave a Masonic cry as he leapt from the window at the back of the Carthage jail down toward the road. It was in 1842 that Joseph Smith practiced Masonry only for a short time. He was a 3rd degree Master Mason, as I mentioned. I myself am a 32nd degree Scottish Rite. The Mason's perspective was most likely that this was plagiarism, stealing, taking rituals and ordinances that were not their own and incorporating them into temple rituals. Joseph Smith's perspective, however, was that he was refining a sacred and fallen ritual, or a clouded ritual, lost authority, lost understanding. He believed that he brought clarity and light to the ordinance and the ritual. So, this is an Edgewood cemetery in which we stand now, where Jennings is buried. This is not his original burial site. He was buried about a mile in a cemetery that is now a subdivision, or a place where houses are built, and his bones were interred here with his wife, Mary Nave, on the back. They were interred here in Edgewood Cemetery. So, anyways, Jennings led the raids on Hauns Mill, and on the night before the massacre at Whitney Farm, which is probably about 12 miles, a little southwest of here, he was at That's where the decision to attack Hauns Mill was made by Jennings and his militia. His militia was organized about exactly the same time the cannon was taken. Livingston County militia did organize, and it was in progress 19 days, and then it was disbanded. There are plaques, there are commendations. There is one specific commendation of a recorded record where an individual was given a commendation an ancient descendant of the Doty family. And more of this will be given on a documentary being outlined by Kenny Ballantyne, a movie producer. So, Jennings was a good man. In Chillicothe he had a pretty good reputation. He wasn't a fat, ugly, unshaven, toothless drunk. His history was fairly honorable, and except for the incident at Hauns Mill, which really shines a light on him, of people in Missouri of being very diabolical. The Missourians had the opposite perspective of the Mormons. They felt the Mormons were the same. They viewed each other. They could not trust each other. And these are sad things. These are some of the things that we need to heal here in Missouri. These are some of the attitudes and feelings that are currently continuing. And when I was a child growing up here, probably very few people lived in Gallatin, Missouri, where the election was held on August 6, 1838. Now, this is 2007, it is now November 15th. Approximately 40% of Gallatin is LDS. Quite a shift. The wave is coming, and slowly and surely things are beginning to change. But with that change comes challenges. So it's my hope that these understandings of our history can help us heal, to understand, to have an attitude and a spirit of kindness, of humility, of understanding. And that's why I present these to you for your consideration. Again, I know the perspective of the LDS people. I've studied it my entire life. But I am the culmination of both sides. I am LDS, but this is my home. My wife and I live several years straight across the street from this man's residence, where his property was. My parents, when I was a child, we moved about 2 miles from where Jennings buried the cannon in the middle of the road. And that's where I started off my Missouri life. It was back in the middle of this whole situation, and I really had no idea that these types of issues, these types of things had occurred until I dug them up on my own. Anyways, so much for this site. Thank you very much.